in this section we're going to talk about hands, because hands are quite often in a portrait and can convey a lot about a person's character and personality. For example, you might find your subject like this, or their hands might be folded in their lap, or maybe on the back of their chair. There'll be all kinds of positions that the hands can go in, and it's really good practice for you to have a little understanding of how hands work. So let's take a close-up then and look at what we're actually seeing. There is an arc that runs through the knuckles, roughly to the top of the thumb. And there's another arc through the joints above it. And the tops of your fingers will roughly be in an arc, although there will be some variation here, because for some people their second finger is the same length as the fourth finger. For some it's the other way around, it's higher. Generally, the top of your second finger will be somewhere around the base of the nail of the third finger. Generally, the top of the little finger will be somewhere around that joint on the fourth finger. But there are always variations, and you really want to look closely at your subject's hands, look at the shapes of the nails, the shapes of the fingers, to be able to see what is their particular character. Now remember, when you're looking at your hand front on, you're going to see the thumb in profile. And when you see the thumb front on, you're going to see the hand in profile, unless you're dealing with someone who's very double jointed. The length of the finger will roughly be equal to the palm, and you can probably see that on the back of your hand more easily. In my case, my palm is perhaps a little longer than the length of my finger. But there are so many variations and differences. These are the things that you want to have a look at. For the first exercise, I'd like you to look in a mirror at your own hand and draw the view that you're seeing in the mirror, because that will be the same as if you were drawing somebody else's hand. You're going to put your hand something like this and concentrate on the fact that there are tendons going up your fingers, up into your hand and coming into your wrist. Now these are quite visible on my hand, so have a look at the way that the tendon runs up the finger and comes across here. If I tense my finger up, my hand a little more closely, you'll see those tendons. And they're coming up to this section here, this one's going across, and they're all coming across to the wrist. The thumb has a big portion, separate own portion on its wrist. So when I'm drawing like this, I start from the wrist, this section across from here to here, and then put all these tendon lines down through the fingers. I can rub them out later if I can't actually see them, but it helps me get the structure in the first place. And it means you'll get the knuckles, the joint knuckles, in the right place on top of each finger so that they're straight. It's really good drawing a hand like this, because you get the foreshortening that happens when you've got a hand coming towards you, and that this section seems larger and it's getting smaller as it moves away. Good practice. So I'm going to start with the wrist, and basically I'm doing this section here, moving across here, and I'm going to draw kind of like construction lines in here first, which I can take out later. Okay, now coming down this section here, I'm going to draw a line for the fingers, and now I'm going to think about making a band across here for the knuckles. Just looking back at here, getting some idea of the relative lengths. Okay, so we've got a knuckle about here, we've got one about here, one about here, and then we've got that one there. Just check it again and make sure that I'm happy with that. Okay, straight down this finger. This will have a slight kink towards the end, straight down here, straight down there, and there. Now I'm going to look for another arc for these joints here, and then the last one at the end. It's a little artificial in that I've splayed them out for resting them on the hand, not resting them on the paper. And then of course we've got the thumb. This is going to be something like that. So try and make all your drawings with this kind of starting point, in that you're checking out first your relative distances before you go too far, because it can be a real pain to get this far into the hand and go, oh no, I should have made it a bit further over, or that's a bit too long, etc. Come back and make some definitions now between the fingers. Look at the widths There's those knuckles across there. The fingernails are interesting. You want to look to see where they are darkest. There will be some parts, like for example on this nail, where you can see a darker line around here, but it's not as dark on this section here, so don't make it evenly as dark. Just draw what you can see, and then you'll have more of a sense of realism in the nails. Now these two fingers here, this one's quite close. It's quite straight, it's tilted on a different angle. And in here a little bit more. And of course to get a fingernail looking at you, which this one relatively is, and you've got to get that line there. Take the opportunity to draw hands whenever you can. Obviously your own is going to be a good model because you don't need to ask anyone's permission. But you're also going to look out for the differences in other people's hands. And it's not too time consuming for someone to just let you draw their hands for a short period, to be able to say, can I draw your hands, can I draw your nose, your ears. You're not asking to do their whole portrait. So if you have a visitor who can settle in for a cup of tea a little while, just take advantage of another person. And of course you can always draw out of magazines as well, but nothing beats drawing from real life. Now I can rub out my arc lines. Maybe the lines running down the centre of the finger, I don't need those anymore. And I can think about now looking for some shading. Think about how I might want to indicate which areas are moving away. A little bit of the nail on the end there. Keep that. Perhaps a little bit more translucent. Try and use your pencil strokes to construct the three-dimensionality of your hand, so that you're changing the direction of your strokes for the way that you can see things happening on this hand. You can do this exercise in coloured pencils, watercolour pencils, charcoal, but just stick to a drawing implement at this point. Pastels, of course, is fine, because painting is going to present its own challenge. Back and look for the darker areas where the fingers are actually touching. And of course if you were going to complete this drawing as a full drawing rather than just as an exercise, you'd probably also want to put in the cast shadows as well, which will make it look much more effective. So to summarise these main points, I always start from the wrist. I mark in my tendon lines which are going to come down to each finger, rub them out later, but at least use them for the construction. Look at the arcs and then assess the lengths to each other, so that you're looking to see if you can get something that looks realistic and hopefully interesting in the way that you've drawn it.